Well, we've completed 95 projects on the Living Flip punch list and made 47 episodes so far. Today we kick off the last item. We're building a shed so they can finally get 2 cars in the garage. Once upon a time, a boy met a girl working for a mouse. They fell in love and realized they'd never own their own home working for the mouse. So they packed up a big truck and moved to New Jersey, lived in a basement to save money for a year, and bought a foreclosure to fix up while they lived there. This is their story. So you need a shed and you think you can save money by building one yourself? Well, you've come to the right place. This is a multi-part video where my son-in-law and I will be building this 12x16 custom shed on his property in New Jersey. This project is proudly sponsored by Nail Gun Depot and Everwin Pneumatic Tools. So this is the shed we're building. I call it a loft shed, and you'll see in a moment why, but it features a front door with 2 windows and a roll-up door on the left-hand side. That's going to be used like a garage door for bringing in the tractor. And it's going to be 2x6 framing on the floor that's going to go pressure treated right against the ground, and shingles on the roof. And so it's going to be a really fun project. And if I strip away the exterior, you'll be able to see why I call it a loft shed, because it features these 2 huge lofts on both sides. And they are plenty high enough, at least for everybody in my family, so it's going to provide them with a lot of great storage and maximize the space so that they can get use of their garages going forward. Now today we are going to talk about the floor, which we're using 3/4 inch plywood and, like I said, a 2x6 pressure treated base. Now there are a lot of different ways to do bases or floors for sheds. Just Google shed floor and you'll see what I mean. Depending upon your location and your terrain, there's a lot of things for you to consider. But in our situation, we were able to put this right on the ground. Now let's get to it. Back in episode 31, during their backyard makeover last year, Julie and Josh bought stone to put around their fire pit. But they ordered too much. So they piled the excess on a flat area next to the fence, where it sat for a year waiting for us to get started. We're building the shed directly on the gravel base with no space for animals to nest underneath it. We found a nice flat spot in the yard that's close to the driveway, so it'll be convenient for bikes and toys and yard tools like the lawn tractor and snowblower. After rough leveling, we started by cutting the 2 long rim joists first. All right, that's the center. And then I'm going to put every 16 inches. And luckily, this tape measure has a mark on it for every 16 inches. And then I'm going to use this. Now these lines are the center of each one of the joists. So when we nail them, we hold them in the middle. I like to find the center and mark the locations of the joist from the center towards the ends. Except for the end, obviously. The only disadvantage of building directly on the ground is airflow. Although the framing is pressure treated, and it can come in contact with the ground, we use non-pressure treated exterior grade plywood because it's safer for kids. So we decided it would be best to vent excess moisture that could cause mold or rot the floor. I got these stainless steel vents on Amazon, and they have little barbs to hold them in place. I also bought a 2-pack of 53mm hole saws to drill the holes. We had to flip them over and drill from both sides, and it took a while, but I think it was worth it. We installed a vent at both ends of each joist cavity, so they'll have plenty of fresh airflow under the floor. Ooh, I think we're getting some rain. Whoa!
it's slippery.
The joists are spaced 16 inches on center, except for the outer two, which will be flush with the ends. Yeah, I know the stones aren't perfectly level at this point. We'll tweak them later before putting on the plywood. I nailed each joist with 3 long nails in through the rim joist. I really recommend a framing nailer for this project, especially because I suck at nailing. It'll be completely supported by the stone, so there's no need for joist hangers here.
We couldn't install this last board for a reason. There's going to be a roll-up garage door here, and we had to do a little bit of surgery on this one. So what we did is we measured in where the door is going to be, and we cut a notch so that when the plywood is put on, we'll actually make it a little bit lower here, and that way water will run out the door instead of into the shed. And that notch is cut the length of the door. So you won't be able to see it later, but you'll see the effects of it. All right, we got the base started of the foundation. It's 2x6 pressure treated on stones. We still got a little bit of leveling to do. Got to square it up, get the floor down. And we cut these holes in here for these little vents because it is going to be flat against the ground. We wanted to make sure it was ventilated so that we didn't get any kind of mildew or anything underneath it.
We didn't attach the shed to the ground. This may not work in Tornado Alley.
All right, 238.
But the thousands of pounds of materials and contents will definitely stay put in New Jersey. We're not worried.
Oh man, 237 3/4. Good enough for government work.
With the base square and reasonably level, we installed 3/4 thick sheets of plywood, starting from the center and working outwards, staggering the joints.
No, you're going this corner. You want to lay them long ways. Now you're going to hold it even with the edge of the framing underneath it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Put it right on. Put it where it has to go. Is that it? Yep. Okay, nice and tight. That's my line.
The base is a little less than 16 feet long, so we trimmed all the sheets to fit. We plan to trench a wire to bring electricity to the shed when we're done, but now's the best time to bring it up through the floor.
Okay, that is for our wire. There we go.
We used that same framing nailer, this time with 2-inch ring-shanked coated galvanized nails to nail down the plywood.
Nice. We are making progress today, and I got the blisters and the boo-boos to prove it. That is where the notch is, so this can come down and tip just a little bit so water comes out of the building instead of going in.
But I can shoot this though, right?
Yeah, you're going to stand down on that. You're going to push it down.
Yeah.
In part 2, we'll continue by pre-building what I call the kit of the shed. We'll fabricate the walls and rafters ahead of time to make assembly easier.
That's nice.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome home.
Be sure to subscribe and watch our new series, The Living Flip. Ooh.
Look.
that has 1.25 inches.
It's the little one. That's all I know.